And now we have Allison to introduce our final new voice.
Yes, I am loving the story arc that has been created by our new speakers. Brittany kicking us off about how we're serving our teams and talking a bit on data and, bringing that back to ourselves, and Meenakshi, bringing that further with how do we show up and start with ourselves. And I'm really excited for y'all to hear Tobe Nneji bring this together and share her story. I'll tell you, I've had so much fun working with her as her mentor. Her talk has inspired me to make changes in my life and how I look at my Kanban board. And I really hope that it inspires you too. She recently moved to Dallas. We have not yet been able to meet in person with everything going on, but I really look forward to the day when it's safe for us to meet. And I can thank her for the impact she's had on me. So without further ado, Tobe Nneji.
Thank you so much, Allison. I'm really, really glad to be here. And, thinking about this speech in hindsight, I probably should have called it Focusing on You, because all of the conversations, I think, like Allison said, has brought us to this place. As all of us know, the first Agile value places individuals and interactions over processes and tools. It's individuals, it's you, it's me, it's all of us that are right here. If we aren't Agile, the entire ideology simply doesn't work. We are the one drop of agility that brings it all together. So there is a need to focus on ourselves and figure out ways in which we can continually improve to help us create our one drop and make it a bigger ripple across the grand scheme of things through our own personal lives. So the question then becomes, how can we then continuously improve on our one drop? I think that one way would be to use data and to make good decisions using the kaizen mindset. We need to set up ways that allow us to gather data that help us build our self-knowledge, and then using the kaizen philosophy, make small changes here and there with good actionable decisions that lead us to an ultimately good place. One of my favorite modern day thinkers, Jordan Peterson, talks a whole lot about how when we try to get to know ourselves, we need to be as observant as snakes. So how then do we collect self-data? What tools can we use to get to know ourselves a little bit more? Let's talk about vision boards and journals. When you think about vision boards and journals, the thoughts that come to mind would probably be I don't know, dreams, motivation, visualization, unpacking, perhaps. How about the word data? Could these tools be used as self-collection tools, self-data collection tools? Are they also tools that are possible to use as stuff that helps us track our growth points and our decision-making points? I would say yes. And now I'm going to tell you how I've done that. This is who I am. This is who I want to grow up to be. Ultimately, at the end of my life, I hope that these are the things that are said of me. I was a good friend. I was financially stable. I was unwavering in faith. I had a successful career in business. I've got good skin. I've got good hair. I pray. I'm loyal. This is the picture of who I hope to be. For a long time, this was my vision board. But then in 2018, I decided to break things down. I created what I now call an Agile vision board. I had my big picture right there in the middle, kind of like an epic. And then on the left side, I had different aspects of my life that I wanted to work on, kind of like features. And on the right side, I had my check-ins, those little things I wanted to track daily, weekly, monthly, sort of like user stories. And at the end of the year, I had checked off about 60% of my goals, and that was great. So I've gone ahead to continue vision boarding this way. And then in 2019, as you can see the board here, I checked off about 75% of my goals, and I checked off at least 50% of the goals listed in each aspect, except one, the relationship and love aspect. At first, I thought that I had checked it off, but then things didn't work out, and so I was wrong. And it hurt. It hurt so much that it threatened to make the entire beautiful year a bleak and sad one. An emotional well-being coach that I recently interviewed, Carlene Purcell, says that emotions are data. That pain that I experienced was data. It was data that led me to seek knowledge and find out why it hurt, why it didn't work, and most of all, how I could do better going forward. And so I had a very deep personal retrospective that included reading my journal and other things. And I found that the situations that I had struggled with, which eventually led to the pain that I experienced, were questions that I had answered in my journal, but somehow forgot to act upon. If I had read my journal half as much as I wrote in it, I wouldn't have forgotten. I also realized that that goal that I set in the relationship and love aspect, that goal had an external dependency that was completely out of my control, the other person. And so with this new knowledge, I made decisions about my 2020 vision board. Now, if you look here on the left side, you would notice that there's no section that focuses on love and relationships. And I now have a check-in on the right side that reminds me to read my journal weekly. It's only July, and I have already checked out about 70% of the goals that I mapped out for 2020. And after this event, I'm going to check out one more, so that is great. I'm still out, I'm still dating, I'm still meeting new people, but because a relationship is no longer a goal, there's no pressure. And that has allowed me to expend my energy in other parts of my life that I have a lot more control over. But that's not even the best part about what happened. A few months ago, I was able to say no to an opportunity that came my way. And this is because I had been spending time reading my journal. Earlier in the year, I had mulled over that same sort of scenario, and I wrote about how it wouldn't pan out in my favor in the long run. So when the opportunity came, I was keenly aware of it since I had been reading my journal, and I had the agency to say an absolute unequivocal no. By the end of May, it was evident that I had made a good decision saying no to that. Data, documented and intentional data from 2019 turned into self-knowledge and good decisions in 2020. Now, last year, I read a book where the author shared this quote by Admiral William McRaven. And I decided to develop the habit of making my bed every morning. To help me stick to it, I created a sort of short satisfaction cycle around it where making my bed every 7 days consecutively meant that I could have an extra glass of wine at the end of the week or buy myself new clothes. I developed the habit quite all right, but I did not document the process anywhere. I didn't have it on my vision board. I didn't have it in my journal, my planner. It was nowhere. And so I forgot about my short satisfaction cycles. I didn't have the data to show me that I require some sort of short-term rewards to help me stick to these sorts of commitments. And so this year, in keeping with my goal of getting back on YouTube, I set a target of 500 subscribers, which would be rewarded by a new laptop and a new camera, even though my camera and laptop were already giving me issues. I did not use the knowledge that I had gained about external dependencies when making that decision. And I also did not set myself up to enjoy small short-term rewards. Now, what happened was I got so frustrated with my devices that I could not consecutively and consistently load videos on YouTube. For my YouTube numbers to grow, I have to be consistent. And so it sort of put me in a bit of a hamster wheel where I wasn't getting my goal. You know, it was just ridiculous going on and on. Now, right now, I've pivoted and I've gone ahead to order the camera that I need and also get myself a new laptop. But I wanted to illustrate to you how not being intentional about data collection could easily lead you down a path of making suboptimal decisions. So I charge you, start today to intentionally collect data about yourself. Take a leaf off of my story and include a short satisfaction cycle and reward yourself often as you go along. Pay attention to your self-data and use it to make good decisions. And hopefully, when we gather again next year, you too will have a story to tell about how your one drop has made a bigger ripple towards your goals. Thank you.
I'd like to invite you all to stand and applaud all of our speakers today. Out loud.
Thank you so much.
want to take this moment and welcome Brittany, Meenakshi, and Tobe to our LNV alumni, and your voices have been launched.
Woo!
Yay!
I also want to take a moment and acknowledge all of our Launching New Voices alumni, our proteges, mentors, and committee members.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome.
We have many of you on this call today. Now, this is for Lavetta and Taz and Felice and Julie and Francisca and Ferran and Chris and Monzi and all of the other folks who are here who might want to become one of our new voices or mentor a new voice or receive mentorship in taking your voice to the next level. We want to ask you to email us, newvoices@womeninagile.org. Check out the Women in Agile website. In the Voices section, we have a new platform that the marvelous Jenny is working on right now to support those connections and to help more voices be heard. And to talk about our next event, Faye?
Yeah, so we already have one more opportunity to get involved, either speaking or being a part of the Launching New Voices program, and that's coming up with the Agile Online Summit. The Agile Online Summit is happening the third week of October. And so right now the call for speakers for the summit itself is open. That format is a little bit different than you might be used to in the past. It's less of a traditional presentation, and it will be more of a conversation. Amelia and I will be interviewing our speakers and having a conversation around the topic that interests them. And we're also doing a Launching New Voices component. So similar to what you saw today, we'll be selecting some new voices and we'll be partnering them up with some mentors. Proteges and mentors will work together. That time frame for engagement will be about from the end of August until that third week of October. So if that's something you'd like to participate in and that time frame fits, please head over. Please head over to the Slack channel and we can post the link there of how you can apply both to be a speaker and or participate in the Launching New Voices portion.
Thank you. As we close out our Launching New Voices, take that first drop to move to what you want. Remember to be hungry, humble, and kind. And sometimes it all starts with a brownie.